Chapter 14, Trying to Breathe Under a Blanket. By 11 o'clock the next day, Jessalyn had been up and down the stairs all morning, turning this way and that in front of the front hall mirror, ignoring me. I was in the kitchen with Emma, where it felt like a zillion degrees. Too hot to be cooking turnip greens and frying pork chops, but that's what Emma did in the middle of most every day. I waited for her to put the cornbread in the oven and sit with me. "Guess what, Emma? I delivered our letter to the newspaper." I smiled and I reached for her hand. "Don't be calling that our letter." She pulled her hand back and she picked up a stack of napkins to fold. "Just 'cause I helped you with a few words." She shook her head. "I sure hope you don't get your daddy in trouble. Now all this mess with Jessalyn going to Memphis? Shopping. Huh." Emma stood up and she started banging pots and pans and singing about gathering at the river, a sure sign that she suspected something. "Is Daddy coming home to eat with us?" I asked. "Brother Joe's over at the church. Been there since after breakfast working on his sermon. I suspect he won't be coming back for his usual noontime meal and nap today." "You aren't going to tell him about my letter, are you?" "I'm not mentioning that letter to anybody," Emma said. "But I'm worried about your sister. She needs to be careful running all over God's green earth like that. Especially now, this summer, with people all riled up about outsiders and northerners and pools closing." I shut up about my letter, and pretty soon, here came Jessalyn, dressed for her fake shopping trip. Emma pointed her wooden spoon at Jessalyn's skirt. "You're going out of the house in that?" "It's the style, and I like it." Jessalyn spread a huge napkin over her new plaid skirt and picked up a piece of hot cornbread. I sat at the other end of the kitchen table, pretending to read every single word on page 46 of The Secret in the Old Attic. Emma said, "That style is almost hiked up to your underpants for the whole world to see. You need to find something else to wear." Jessalyn didn't talk back to Emma, but she didn't go upstairs and change either. "Watch yourself today is all I'm saying. Memphis is a big place." Emma started washing and drying her glass measuring cups. She was pressing on them so hard I thought they'd break. Jessalyn smiled, holding her lips together. "Don't worry, I'm old enough to take care of myself. Besides, I'll be back before dark." She fiddled with the bracelet that she had just clasped around her wrist and then flipped it toward me like she knew how much I'd love my own silver bracelet filled with little charms. After she set her dish and iced tea glass in the sink, she dabbed at her bright lipstick. And then she shut the front door and half skipped down the sidewalk toward wherever she claimed she was going. Emma called after Jessalyn, "Watch yourself, girlie," but Jessalyn was long gone. "Something's not right with this so-called shopping trip," Emma said. "That child's been acting strange lately." It wasn't easy getting anything past Emma. That's why the lie that I was about to tell came out of my mouth slowly and carefully. "Emma, I forgot to tell you. Miss Bloom asked me and Laura to help with the little kids' story program over at the library," I said, "all afternoon." Emma put her hand on my shoulder to stop me from running off the way that Jessalyn had just done. She was looking at me hard. She must have been thinking about Jessalyn and Jessalyn's skirt. "Just a minute, young lady. All afternoon?" When I looked right back at Emma, I didn't blink. It was hard to lie and not blink. "Miss Bloom needs me. Plus, I have to drop my book off." I took a deep breath and told my heart to stop beating so fast. I shook loose from Emma's hand. She would never come looking for me at the library. Come to think of it, Emma had never stepped foot in our library. I gotta go. The screen door slammed behind me. Sorry about the door, I yelled back. Phew! I'd escaped without Emma figuring out that I was not going to be spending the day at the library. I looked up and down Church Street. No Jessalyn. And then I caught a glimpse of a red plaid skirt sashaying down the shady side street by the library. Jessalyn was prissing like she owned the world. I ducked behind a wide pecan tree and watched a gold Plymouth station wagon stop in front of her. A black, wavy, ducktail haircut and an arm hanging out of the window told me what I already suspected. Jessalyn was running off with Robbie Fox. He opened the car door, big as you please. But something must have changed his mind, because the next thing I knew, they disappeared into the Piggly Wiggly grocery store across the street. I raced to that station wagon and peered in the back window. A picnic cooler, a blanket, an old football jersey, and a spare tire were inside. When I heard Jessalyn back on the sidewalk yakking nonstop, I didn't have but a minute to decide. I jumped into the way back of the station wagon to hide under a blanket. Wherever we were going, I hoped it didn't take long. This was the scratchiest blanket ever, and I could hardly breathe.